Welcome to Defen episode 29, part 2. In order to keep last week's episode below everybody's daily allowance of expletives, we decided to split it into two. Here's the second part of our conversation with Zach Oakes.
I think we are slightly above the time, unless we have any other topics that we want to talk about.
Yeah, but the time can go fuck itself as well. We've got Zach on the show. I mean, this is we can't stop. We've spent a lot, and we're not letting him go. We all just hit pause, take a toilet break, and we come back and keep on rocking.
I think this is one of the things that we can do is like the Twitch sort of thing. We just keep clicking links on the screen and then talking and. There are people watching people playing video games, so maybe
it's an amazing phenomenon. And people watch people crazy. Code too.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. That's what I've been seeing. Yeah.
The first time I saw it was when Notch was doing a live coding of a game for Ludum Dare, which is the gaming competition, and of course he had a massive following. And I was watching, I was like, this is actually kind of interesting. And part of it is because he's just like me. He's a terrible coder. Like, his code is awful. But he's just
So he's just like you in a sense that you have, a gazillion dollars?
Well, not yet, but soon,
Eventually.
Next week.
I'll get there. But like his code is awful, but he's like constantly moving around, and he's making, even with Java, he was coding with Java, and he's making use of code reloading, the very somewhat primitive kind that Java has, and he's using it constantly, and it's just like fascinating watching him do this. So I don't know if I could be that interesting, but that like the actual concept finally made sense to me after I watched that. I was like, I could just watch you code and not do anything but drink beer. This is awesome.
Exactly.
Well, the funny thing is that all the conferences these days are all about live coding, aren't they? Everyone's live coding.
Yeah.
And if you're, why go to a conference? Just do it online,
Yeah.
You're kind of, you're giving us a clue here.
No, I've been watching some coding things as well. I mean, it's really nice to see how people use their tools and how they're thinking, and sometimes some people speak when they're writing code because they know that there is some audience, and there are some guys who are in their own mind and then just typing the code, and it's really fascinating. And they're like, why did this person do that? You keep looking at it, and
actually,
and there are things that you can learn.
Maybe next, actually, we were talking about this advent of code last time. Maybe we can get some of the Advent of Code people, the Clojure guys, to do some of this live coding on like a Twitch stream or something, because that would be quite nice.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I've been following some of their repositories, and they're really some excellent coding coming out of there, and you can learn a shitload of stuff from these guys. But it would be nice to see how they're doing it.
I've never actually used Advent of Code. I keep hearing people talk about it. Why is this so popular? What is it about it?
I think it's just like a series of challenges, like over 20 days leading up to Christmas, and it's like people in different languages try to solve it with Go and Python or Clojure or C or whatever.
Oh, it's multi-language.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a series of programming puzzles, and you can pick them up and then do it in whatever the way you want.
I see.
And then put it in your own. There are a couple of things like that these days. Of course, Advent of Code, and then there is some coding game or something online where you make exercises by building up a game.
So I mean, it could be an idea for your tech actually, because if you want to kind of like do all this kind of stuff online with low friction,
Sure.
Exactly. I think one thing I really think you should take a look at is there is something called exercism.io. I'm not sure if you have heard about that website. So they have this it's called Exercism, and then they have programming problems for every language. So you can, like, Clojure has 60 or something, and then they have a command line tool that brings in the next problem, and then you do it and then push it, and then other people are looking at your code and commenting.
I see.
So integrating into that kind of thing could be super awesome, because then I don't need to.
Like, my next thing that I would love to do is get into more esoteric ideas. I've been doing all these beginner tools with Clojure, and I feel like I've basically like exhausted my pool of ideas here. It's like I'm on my like 7th Clojure IDE, and at some point you got to stop. And
that's true.
But I'm still fascinated with this whole idea of how do you make programming more accessible?
Yeah.
And and I think my next thing is going to be something a bit higher level. Like you won't be coding in Clojure. I'm sure I'll make it in Clojure, but I want to draw from things like Scratch, which is a block-based programming tool, and then you got some crazy stuff like Eve from Chris Granger.
That's what I was.
And I think I have my own ideas for that space, and that's what I want to do next. I don't think I can do anything as sophisticated as Eve, but I have my own interesting ideas, and also like I think they're taking too long. Like it's been like 3 years, and I it just feels like a yak shave to an extent because of that. But also I have my own ideas for how I want to tackle that problem. So I want to do that next. And like I said, you're probably not going to be coding in Clojure per se, but it's going to be in the same space as some of my older stuff, except maybe even a higher level, and probably another waste of time. But it'll be fun anyway. So
have you seen? I mean, I don't know if you remember. There was a guy called Tommy Hall that did some of these Escher drawings and some of these other bits and pieces. And I think, is it Sam Aaron, the Overtone guy? He did the Ruby's, the Sonic Pi stuff. And they're all about like teaching kids how to code. And what you need to do is you need to code at a different level. It needs to be like not all these kind of like low-level programming language type thing. It needs to be something logic-based, something that just, brings blocks together.
But that's what the playgrounds are doing, right? On
exactly.
Swift and on iPad.
And then eventually you can kind of surface the underlying assembly type language if you need it,
Yeah, like I don't think everybody is going to be a programmer.
No.
It will always be a specialized skill. But it's kind of like the same way that you could do simple things on your car without being a mechanic. And I think we're going to get to the point where people can at least do simple things with an ultra simple scripting system. And maybe that will save us from the AI dystopia that is going to take over. If we let the computers do everything, then we're fucked. We gotta let average people.
Some things for us.
That's right.
Right.
But I always think about if you think it's kind of a weird thing, but you go to corporate environments and they're all writing Excel. They're all writing Excel. Every fucker is writing Excel. Everyone in that building, doesn't matter what building you're pointing at. That building is full of people writing Excel. And what the hell is that all about? That's a crap system,
Yeah, it's full of people who are like me. They don't care about their tools. They just want to, use whatever in front of them.
Well, they want to analyze their data. They want to get the results.
No, it makes sense though. Excel is like, it's in a way, it is a very well made programming system that also happens to be really accessible. I mean, the Eve guys talk about all the time. So yeah, I mean, I think that's one window into what it could look like, but I don't know. This is one of those things I want to try to do, but
I think it shouldn't be Excel. But I think my point is that Excel is Excel is the what people are using now, for solving their problems. A bit like people used, I don't know, like 5-bar gates back in the sort of Middle Ages, But we've got better stuff than that now. We've already got better stuff than that. But it does feel a bit like an abacus or a sort of crappy tool, Excel, in the modern age. But people are still using it, because they haven't got access to better stuff.
Right?
Can you translate that analogy into American? Because I don't understand it.
What? You don't know what an abacus is?
No, baguettes? Did you say baguettes?
Middle Ages.
Abacus. An abacus.
Abacus.
Oh, abacus.
Yeah.
I know what that is.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we looked into the future. So now we all know that Ray hates Excel.
I never use Excel.
What did Excel do to you?
Excel. Yeah. So
I just finished my MBA, so I'm an Excel king. But I don't want to put it on my CV yet. I want to be a social media influencer or
But
something.
I watched
like
that guy. I don't know if there was a YouTube video about a Japanese guy that does painting in Excel. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
But that's like a Excel has got everything. Everything is in Excel. You know, it's like it's a whole world.
It has a flight simulator. I'm not sure if it is still there or not.
I remember that,
back in the Excel 95 or something. You just type in some magical thing and then press tab, and then it gets into a flight simulator. Like, awesome. You know, you just press escape when your boss is around.
Yeah, when I worked in these corporations, people use it for planning. They use it for it's not number crunching is the least thing it's used for. It's the most boring task. Everything else it's used for. You know. Anyway, by the by, okay, but that's the future.
That proves that it's one of those tools. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a general purpose tool. Actually, it's got everything in there.
Exactly.
But it's awful. It's truly awful. Yeah. It's bad at everything.
What are we talking about?
But it's accessible. Yeah, Excel. Excel is on every desktop because of.
I thought you said you never used Excel, and now you're like.
No, I don't use it. No, I have used it. I have used it.
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't use it anymore because I'm not an animal.
Excel did some bad things to him when he was young.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So what I mean is, it's a tool that's got everything in it, but all of those things that are inside of it are all bad. They're all kind of like worst in class. But they're accessible. They're because they're on everyone's desktop. Because Windows is everywhere. It is everywhere, and you can't remove Windows because everyone wants Excel now. You know, it's kind of like that cuckoo type thing. You know, that's the wrong analogy, but there's somehow it's kind of like got into the world, and it's used by everybody. And now no one, and even though it's awful, no one can get rid of it because you know.
I mean, it's the same story as JavaScript.
Or the
JVM.
Pretty much everything.
So basically,
everything works that way.
Are we saying that we should have a closure instance that runs on top of Excel? Because I think that could be a nice runtime. You know,
compiled down to Excel macros. Yeah. Wow,
Excel macros.
How do I get that idea out of my head? It's just disturbing me.
We probably should stop at that point, though, I think.
you can already pick the file extension. It's going to be Excel.js, and then you're ready. And then...
Oh no.
Okay, I think before we actually push you to on the edge and then make you start on that project, we'd like to stop it there.
Did we miss
any famous
anything?
Last words?
Did we miss anything? Yeah.
Yeah, in the projects.
I mean, you missed a lot of shit.
Oh,
you guys did a terrible job. Just saying.
Well, that means you just have to you're gonna have to come back, Zach. You know.
Exactly.
No, this was fun. I want to be a regular. Can I be a regular? Yeah. Like, you know how like Rodney Dangerfield would always show up on Johnny Carson. He would just show up, not even invited. He would just like appear. He did it like 100 times. I just want to do that. Why
don't you join us as a co-host, Zach, for another show?
Yeah.
We'll just invite someone else along. You can come along as a third person or a fourth person.
I can third wheel as good as anybody.
Let's do that. Let's do that. This is on air. It's a promise. We'll have you on.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me.
It's time for one of us to retire. This is our exit strategy, because the show started with the feedback, right? Fuck you guys. Okay, that this is all we wanted to hear. Finally, now we can pass the baton to someone else who can hear the fuck you guys from someone else.
I think it's but that's like passing the test, isn't it? Like the Turing test. As soon as you can say fuck you guys, you're in.
That means we're popular. That means we're popular. That's pretty much it. But before we step on to the next one, well, not next one, but the end of the show, I hope.
They're queuing around the corner.
I just want to mention that you have Patreon as well, right? It's patreon.com/Sakao Oaks in the reverse.
Sakao.
That's right. That's my new name. Yeah. All I'm trying to do is pay off that damn server that I'm running nightcoders.net on, and I almost got there.
Yeah. So people who are listening, go there and then support him so he can keep running the server. And of course, I mean, he's going to come back and then join us again and then again and again and again and show up on the show. And then, maybe you can do a small segment with, Bob Ross sort of shit in the middle.
Yeah,
that'll be amazing.
The happy guy.
Once I'm making some notch money, then it won't matter. But until then, I'm I'm making.
You know how rich we are from Defen, so you're welcome to the club. We'll be like super rich people.
You need to get some sponsors. That's what you need to do.
No, we don't want to.
No? You want to keep it totally anti-capitalist?
Yes.
You Europeans.
Yeah. I mean, we like money, but we don't like people who.
We got the Patreon. We got the patrons. I mean, they're paying more. Like I don't know, probably 60% of all of our costs now. So that's pretty good.
So
I mean, we're happy with that.
That's not bad.
It doesn't cost that much to do this stuff. Most of it's our time,
Yeah, right on.
So we want money for our full-time job. Don't worry about that. We want like 9 to 5 sponsors for sure. But for this stuff, it's okay.
Exactly.
We love our patrons. The people who are sponsoring this show. I mean, it's so amazing to me that the people that are doing this. I mean, we're giving a bit of our time to the Clojure community, but they're giving our money back, and I think it's all good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So we will never take sponsors. I mean, because we would like to insult everybody on the show and offend everyone. So that means basically practically everyone else. So apart from us, and now we are offended as well. We're getting insults as well. So we're part of the club.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all a happy coincidence now.
That's a good point. I don't think you guys could hold sponsors even if you wanted to. It'd just be like hightail it out of there the minute they actually listen to you.
I mean, what we'd like to have is probably the zenith of this podcast will be if Cognica starts to sponsor in our podcast.
That'd
be awesome. This episode of Defen is sponsored by Cognica, so maybe you should try to hear that one a bit. Other podcasts.
I think what we should also do, we should come up with a code of misconduct. Okay.
Yes.
We have to at least offend many people.
You signed that one.
We have to say fuck you at least once in the show. We have to earn our explicit tag, It has to happen.
That's true.
It's brilliant.
All right. Okay.
Anyway.
Maybe we should stop.
It's yeah. Yes, I think we should stop before other people will also show up and then tell us to fuck you guys. Stop it now. Again, a big thank you for all the patrons who are supporting us. We have almost 6 people already supporting us.
Almost 6.
That's almost 6. I'm not sure how many are going to stay with the whole Patreon fuck up thing and everything.
Let's get up to double figures. No, the Patreon have backed down, haven't they? So
yeah. So hopefully we'll get to the double figures, and of course, while you're at it, don't forget to look at Zach Oak's Patreon as well, so he can pay off his server and then spend rest of the money on sitting with us and then joining us in the upcoming episodes. So we'll figure that out, how to work it out. So that's it from us for episode number 29 with Zach Oakes, who is Bob Ross of Clojure and
the cowboy of Clojure. Sure,
I think you can
the cowboy of Clojure.
The cowboy of Clojure,
the Brett Victor
and
of Clojure.
Who is making.
He's got so many nicknames.
Yes,
this guy.
the Brett Victor of Clojure. Yeah. So Zach, I mean, thanks a lot for joining us, and it's been super fun to have you on the show and talking about Dynadocs and all the projects that you're doing, and especially making Clojure accessible to the beginners, putting your time in.
Thank you. I had a good time.
Yeah, and it's been brilliant.
Well.
It's been brilliant. I mean,
yeah. I hope to come back again sometime. Thank you.
You will, for sure.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Right. Should we say thank you
final
to
credits.
Pizzeri, the music man, whose music is probably playing us out now, with the help of Mr. Wouter Dullard, who's doing the editing.
Yep.
That's a thankless job, yeah.
By the way, Wouter said to us that, you should have a canned thing at the end, at the beginning of all this kind of shit. But I said, no, forget it.
Yeah.
We want to make it completely ridiculous all the time, always annoying. So sorry, Zach, you were going to say something. A shout out to the editor, the unsung hero of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's a thankless job. It's hard. I've edited stuff.
We don't thank
before.
him. We don't thank him.
Yeah.
We hate him. Yeah.
I didn't expect you would.
We never did. And we still don't know why he's doing this for us. Maybe it's some sort of a sadomasochistic thing in Belgium.
Game.
I don't know.
It's a very
I have no
long
idea. Yeah.
Should I stop recording now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty then.
Bye.